We are live. Hello, folks. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Doc Skinner. I am attempting to connect with Freedom Slips, and having some trouble connecting. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That's the Skype ringing. By the way, this is Doc Skinner. I know there's no video. This is radio. I'm trying to log into Freedom Slips, and I'm having a heck of a time right now. Oh boy. I don't even think anybody's here. That's okay. It's mid-afternoon. Let's see. I'm texting. Tried 3 times. Any suggestions? Oh, you do hear me, Edward Sosa? Hey, sorry, man. I'm trying to. Man, yeah, that was bad. Dead air. My bad. Hi, Edward Sosa. I'm trying to communicate with Brooks Agnew, who's at an event, and I'm supposed to be covering for him right now on the air on Revolution Radio, and for some reason, it's not letting me in. So yeah. This was nerve-wracking as it was, because this is a huge show he has, and for me to sub for him was a really big deal. Let's see. No, that's not what I need. So this may not happen, but I'll be back. I mean, if this doesn't happen, then I'll definitely be back at 7 o'clock. Here, let me do this. Hey guys, look at me. I'm wearing a polo shirt. I'm like spiffy today. Yeah, because I had a big break today. Hey, Dave D, how are you? So I'm going to do my show at 7. But right now I'm in communication with Brooks, trying to figure out why I cannot get online, or why I can't connect to the Skype number that I was given. It's nerve-wracking, because I mean, I was going to do this big show. Can you guys hear the beeps? Are you guys hearing the beeps? What error am I getting? That they're not online, but they should be online. Might have to drop to YouTube. No, it's not for me. This is for Brooks Agnew's show, not my show. That's why I've been a nervous wreck. Oh my gosh, it's just so. My heart's breaking right now. This is the first day off in 4 years for him to go to a concert with his daughter, and I was going to cover for him, and I'm here. I'm ready to go, but for some reason I cannot get into their Skype and connect. And right now he's probably cursing to the sky to the beat of Korn or an Evanescence, cursing me right now. And no, I didn't get an alternative number or anything. It was just the only way is through Skype. So I don't know what to do. I mean, just sit here and try again. I mean, you guys know me. I don't do Skype. But going on here, I'm down. Can you guys hear the radar beep thing? You can't hear the beeps. Now, see, that's the other issue. Well, I hear it. Darn it. And that's what sucks, is I'm playing something on my computer and you guys can't hear it. It's been happening a lot lately. So you guys can't hear the dialing of the beeps. All right. Um, man, he is not responding. He's mad. He's so mad, and I feel so bad because I'm here. I was ready to go. We got it hooked up. Oh, this is just the A Delta server isn't online. Wow. Oh, here we go. What we got going on here? Hello. Cool. I think we're on the air. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Doc Skinner. No, it's not Brooks Agnew. I'm going to be subbing for him today. And to be honest with you, I'm a nervous wreck about it because Brooks Agnew is just so brilliant. I mean, he's a dear friend of mine, but he is just so brilliant. So please be gentle because this is a big deal. So I really appreciate the opportunity that he entrusted me with this. We did have a little issue getting on the air right away, and I'm hoping and praying that they're hearing this. I hope that the connection is working fine. So anyway, like I said, my name is Doc Skinner. I host another show on YouTube called the Doc Force, and I've known Brooks for a couple years now, and he's just one of my dearest friends. He's just an amazing man and brilliant, just brilliant. Every time he comes on my show, he just blows my mind, and the fact you guys get to listen to him every day is just awesome. Yeah, it's not gonna be like he's here. I'm just letting you guys know that right now. No one can imitate the famous Brooks Agnew. He is his own thing and stands alone. So, but give me some things that we could talk about today, and that's what we're gonna do for the next 2 hours. So, thank you for joining us this evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are. So, what he wanted me to talk about a few things, and one is this speech prosecution. Now, I've never heard that term before, but seems to be something. So, as I shall read, city officials in La Crosse, Wisconsin, or is it La Crosse, Wisconsin, who recently adopt a pro-LGBT agenda point by banning counseling that seeks to change a person's sexual orientation, are being warned they can get into trouble for it. Constitutional trouble. La Crosse's ordinance threatens parents, ministers, and counselors, among others, with punishment if they share sincerely held views on issues of sex and gender with children in their care, explains Anthony Lococo, deputy counsel for WILL, the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. He said, "It's a black letter law that the government has no right to simply penalize speech with which it disagrees. La Crosse needs to rethink its actions." The organization said it released a public letter to La Crosse Common Council after members there adopted an ordinance that violates free speech, religious liberty, and parental rights guarantees. Those are found in the state of federal constitutions. It bans a significant amount of speech on issues of sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity, the organization said. The situation arose with the adoption of Ordinance Number 5220, which prohibits, quote, any practices or treatments offered or rendered to consumers, including psychological counseling, that seek to change a person's sexual orientation or gender identity, including efforts to change behaviors or gender expressions, or to eliminate or reduce sexual or romantic attractions or feelings towards individuals of the same gender, unquote. But Will pointed out the city at the same time explicitly allows counseling that provides assistance to a person undergoing gender transition, or counseling that provides acceptance, support, and understanding of a person, or facilitates a person's coping, social support, and identity exploration and development, including sexual orientation, neutral interventions to prevent or address unlawful conduct, or unsafe sexual practices, as long as such counseling does not seek to change an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity. Whew, I don't think there was a period anywhere in there. Whew, that was a long breather. The result will warn the city, is a sweeping and vague prohibition. There we go, on disfavored speech. And it said parents and ministers could face city punishment just for sharing their religious views on matters of gender. Police officials there have confirmed the concerns expressed by Will are valid, as they would investigate and, if appropriate, take enforcement action. The letter to the council from Rick Eisenberg, Will, president, the WIL president, and others explain, quote, the city of La Crosse has determined that the best use of municipal resources is to wade into some of the most profound ontological, that's a good word, moral and religious debates of our age. The meaning and proper ends of sex, gender, and sexual attraction, declare one side the winner, and investigate the punishment those who dare to voice opposing views. The city's strategy, Will points out, wasn't even able to meet the requirements of the World Professional Association of Transgender Health when it allowed counseling affirming a gender transition but banning any other. The WPATH WPATH standard notes that transitions in early children are controversial. The legal team pointed out that the speech restriction is so broad that the simple expressions of scripture could be considered violations. If suggested, the council repeal the strategy or expect a lawsuit. Here's entangled particle record that was broken. This is something. I mean, let's go back to this. I mean, I try not to get into all of that. I try to let people do what they want to do as long as it doesn't affect others. That's just where I stand. But it's just getting crazy that there's just so much in there. People are just getting. See, this is Brooke's show, and I'm doing my best to watch my words. It's just it used to not be this complicated. It used to not be this complicated. It used to be A or B, and that was it. And you fall in love. You have. I mean, it was just simple. It was simple, and now everything's just gotten really, really complicated. And it works for some people, and that's fantastic. I mean, great. I have no qualms with anybody. It's just I'm from a simpler time, I guess. Close to my AARP card, which I'm so looking forward to. All those discounts, senior dinners, it's gonna be great. Yeah, it seems that we have just become a society that has to be up in everybody's business, or is that just me? I don't know. I question it. I question a lot of things because the way of the world is just much different. Just like science. Science has gotten so fantastic. The things that we can do now that we couldn't do a decade ago, 5 years ago, and the things that we're going to be doing in the coming years. There's just the amount of people with amazing brains like Brooks is that it's excelling humanity to another level on a fast pace. And I guess that's why I'm getting to that age where I'm just like, I'm new, old dog, new tricks. I'm good with what I got. But it is intriguing. I love it. I'm learning about frequencies and vibrations, and how I don't understand quantum physics really much at all. I don't even know if I know the gist of it, but I'm wanting to learn. I'm waiting for a good day to sit down and do some research on it. And the things that we're learning now it's just mind-boggling. My grandmother, this past Sunday, two days ago, turned 99. And which it was a huge blowout. But I sit and I think about all the things that she has lived through and seen, and what has been accomplished throughout her 1 year off of a century of living here. And so I see things and that are going on. It's just mind-boggling. So the next thing we're going to talk about is entangled particle record broken. Now, this should be interesting. And I'm sure I'm probably going to get tongue-tied on a few words, so please forgive me. All right, here we go. A new member, or excuse me, already messed up. A new method of entwining the fates of fragments of light has overcome some serious obstacles on the road to photon-based quantum computing. Oh, this is going to be good. Researchers from the Max Planck Institute of Quantum Optics in Germany have successfully entangled 14 photons into a state considered optimal for qubits, more than doubling previous attempts, while also improving on their efficiency. Now, unlike the bits of binary code behind more conventional forms of computing technology, qubits exist in a state of probability called a superposition, behaving like a flip coin as it tumbles through the air. Algorithms based on the way groups of quantum coins fall can make short work of some pretty complex mathematics, but only if their collective spinning isn't unwittingly blown off course by the government, referred to as a decoherence, excuse me. This interruption to a particle's superposition is a huge hurdle for engineers designing useful quantum computers. In theory, just about anything can exist in a quantum superposition of states, from electrons to atoms to whole molecules or bigger. But to limit decoherence, smaller and simpler objects take the cake. Photons make ideal qubits. Now, unfortunately, practical quantum computers, they need a lot of qubits, thousands, millions even. The more, the better. Not only do they all need to be spinning in superposition at once, their fates have to be shared, or, to use the physics terms, entangled. Okay? So this is where the challenge comes in. There are relatively easy ways to entangle pairs of photons. Force an atom to emit a wave of light and then split it using a special screen, and you'll get two photons with a shared history. There are relatively easy ways to entangle pairs of photons. Force an atom to emit a wave of light. Oh, I already read that. I'm sorry. Special screen. And you'll get two photons with shared history. While they remain in flight with their respective characteristics yet to be measured, they more or less act like that spinning coin. Eventually, one will come up heads and the other tails. Entangling more than two photons becomes more of a challenge. Experiments with objects called quantum dots have managed to entangle chains of 3 or 4 photons. Not only is it unlikely to ever produce the hundreds and thousands needed for a quantum computer, the state of entanglement using this approach isn't as reliable as engineers might like. More recent studies using atoms with large electron orbitals called Rydberg atoms have produced up to 6 entangled photons, all in an efficiently entangled form. Though the method could make for super fast computing components, it isn't as easily scalable option either. The newest solution could, in theory, produce any number of entangled photons, all in the ideal state. The trick, or quote, the trick is this experiment was that we used a single atom to emit the photons and interweave them in a very specific way, unquote, says physicist, doctoral student, and lead author Philip Thomas. An atom of rubidium, yes, R-U-B-I-D, I think I said it right, rubidium, was tickled into emitting light waves. Tickled, interesting word for that, which was channeled into a cavity shape to reflect them back and forth in a very precise manner. By perfectly fine-tuning the way the rubidium glowed, each photon could be entangled with the entire atom state, meaning each photon bouncing back and forth in the cavity would entangled with a significant number of its siblings as well. Quote, because the chain of photons emerged from a single atom, it could be produced in a deterministic way. Ooh, I'm being challenged today with these words. Deterministic ways, says Thomas. In this case, the team managed to entangle 12 photons in a less efficient linear cluster and 14 in the prized Greenberger-Horn-Zellinger, or the GHZ state. Quote, to the best of our knowledge, the 14 interconnected light particles are the largest number of entangled photons that have been generated in the laboratory so far, says Thomas. Not only were they able to entangle so many photons, the efficiency of this method improved on past processes, with nearly 1 out of every 2 photons providing neatly entangled qubits. Future setups will need to introduce a second atom to provide the qubits necessary for many quantum computing operations. Having entangled photons on tap could provide the foundations of technology beyond computing, occupying a central role in quantum encrypted communications. Wow. Okay. That's pretty intense. And I understand just a little bit more now after reading that, how they split these photons. And it's kind of like a worm, I think isn't a worm, if you cut in half, it'll become 2, or there's certain part of, anyway. I'm not the really smart one. That's Brooks. He knows that answer, I'm sure. So, but quantum computers, let me tell you, that is a work of art. But at the same time, scary as hell. Oh, I hope I didn't. I've been watching my mouth. I apologize. But what they can do with it is amazing. And there's even this, some people, they say that it works in multi dimensions. And that just blows my mind. The computer can solve problems in other dimensions and bring it. It's just mind blowing. And one of the things that I personally have experienced involving a quantum computer is a phone app. I just went blank on the name of the app. Oh crap. It's an app where you just think of something and you hit the button and it gives you a latitude and longitude, in a certain circumference around you. And you go there and you find it. And I cannot believe I just forgot the name of it. It was on the tip of my tongue. And I had the creators of this program, because it was huge over COVID. And I had them on my show and we talked about, how the program came to be, because there was a lot of rumors. It was part of the, the cabal, the Illuminati, all this stuff. And so I wanted to clear the air on all that. And what had happened is just some people people would find stuff that they were looking for, basically. Not every time, but it would happen a lot. And so I brought up the question about how this app works. And they said, well, this app connects with a quantum computer in Australia, one of the universities in Australia. And I don't know what it does, but the app connects to that, and you just think, like you think purple, the color purple. And this app will take you in whatever you set in the settings, your radius. It'll take you somewhere that has purple. Or if you think in plain, it'll take you, somewhere. And it was just really weird, because people were going out in the middle of nowhere, and then something would happen right there, or they'd find a suitcase right there. And they were like, this is a setup. Somebody's like putting this all together, when in fact it was this quantum computer. So I brought up the question. I said, is it possible that your app is basically a quantum matrix search engine? And if we were truly in the matrix, then we're code, right? So everything, this marker, the mouse, the phone I have here, the pens, each one of these items has a it's code. If this was the Matrix, okay. So what this app would basically, what it basically seemed to be, if the Matrix was real, is like a search engine. If you're looking for wealth, it'll have you come across a wallet that someone dropped with some cash in it. I kid you not. There's plenty of videos on it, stuff like that. And what made it famous is they found a body in a suitcase, and that's when it went just viral. And so I can't. I don't know why I'm being purposely blanked out on the name of this app. It's amazing. Anyway, it's involved with this quantum. So the fact that this is explaining more on how it works, and what can be done, and that problems can find solutions in another dimension is, I don't know. It's staggering to me. At the same time, a little bit scary, but it's the way of the future, and it's how things are going to be solved. We just have to be very careful on who's in charge of this stuff and what purposes they use it for. So, anyway, interesting story. If you don't know about quantum computers, it might be something to check out. By the way, what I'm reading to you, these are from Brooks' blog. So if you want to check out the stuff I'm reading and you want to show it to somebody, I'm sure you can find it there at brooksagnew.blog, and maybe some other places. But let's see. Moving on, the NIH. I'm glad this is a short one. NIH, who told everyone that using ivermectin to treat COVID was idiocy, is now telling doctors that ivermectin is approved COVID treatment. You can tell why I'm a little sassy about this one, because I'm one of those people who tell, along with Brooks, everybody, this is what is needed. And because it wasn't them and their narrative, they made us all look, try to make us look stupid. And who looks stupid now? Yeah, sorry. But conspiracy theorists, quote unquote, is what they called us. They did. Witch doctors, they said, laughed about people using horse paste with ivermectin in it to treat COVID. Well. Today, the National Institutes of Health, NIH, lists ivermectin on their official website as an approved treatment for COVID-19. God, I really just want to scream on the rooftops, we told you so. Here, a 1-minute video from the doctors proving it. So, well, we don't have that video right now, but so to all those brainiacs who thought they knew better, what do you have to say for yourselves now that you've been proven wrong? Yeah. To all those people who made fun of others because they talked about using ivermectin to treat COVID, what do you have to say for yourselves now? Those naysayers were nothing more than big mouths who did not know what they were talking about. Those ivermectin deniers owe a lot of people an apology. You can get it for yourself without a prescription by going to brooksagnew.blog/ivermectin-reports. Oh, yes. So I heard about this the other day. I was going to actually bring this up last night and I forgot. But yes, the Pope instructs that all underlined, capitalized, big, bold letters, all Vatican entities to move all funds to the Vatican Bank before September 30th. I already have my theories, but we're going to read this anyway. Because I'm sure what he put here is most likely right. This is very strange, considering the Executive Order 14067 that allows for the conversion of all cash to a central bank digital currency. Who would have funked it that the Pope would be like ahead of the game with everybody else in the world? Let's get digital. Let's get digital. Sorry. Just no. This is Brooks' show, not my show. I usually get a little crazy, so I apologize. Simmer down now. All right, so let's see, where were we? Pope Francis has ordered that the Holy See connected entities move all financial assets to the Institute for Works of Religion, or the IOR, commonly known as the Vatican Bank, by September 30th. The Pope's rescript, issued on August 23rd, clarifies the interpretation of a paragraph in the new Constitution of the Roman Curia. I probably didn't say that right. Curia. I apologize. Or the pre-etiquette Evangelium promulgated. I'm sorry. I think I think Brooks did this on purpose. He's like, I'm going to make him slip up right here. I'm going to put some heavy words in there. According to Francis Rescript, financial and liquid assets held in banks other than the IOR must be moved to the Vatican Bank within 30 days of September 1st, 2022. The IOR, based in Vatican City State, has 110 employees and 14,519 clients as of 2021. It looked after 5.2 billion euros, or $5.6 billion, of client assets. Though commonly called a bank, the IOR is technically a financial institute with no branches, working within Vatican City State to provide services to clients, which include the Holy See and connected entities, religious orders, clergy, Catholic institutions, and Holy See employees. The IOR saw its numbers of clients decline by 472 from 14,991 clients at the end of 2020 to 14,519 in 2021. Nearly half of its clients in 2019 were religious orders. According to its annual report, the financial institute's $19 million net profit in 2021 was also down from $44 million in 2020 and $46 million in 2019. Yeah, it was a pretty big jump. In his August 23rd rescript, Pope Francis said Article 219, paragraph 3 of Pre-Etiquette Evangelium must be interpreted to mean that the activities of asset manager and custodian of the movable patrimony of the Holy See and the institutions connected with the Holy See is the exclusive responsibility of the institution's works of religion. The decree will force Holy See institutions, including the Secretariat of State, to move their financial assets to the IOR by the end of September. The Secretariat of State is known to have had accounts in Swiss financial institutions, including Credit Suisse, through which the controversial London building investment was initially carried out. Article 219, paragraph 3 of the new Curial Constitution says, quote, the execution of the financial transactions referred to in 1 and 2 is carried out through Institute for the Works of Religion, unquote, the IOR. The financial transactions described in paragraphs 1 and 2 of Article 219 are the administration and the management of the Holy See's real estate and movable assets and entities entrusting their assets to the Holy See. We could be looking at a major global banking collapse. We could be looking at a major global banking collapse. This is precisely how the global syndicate smashed the middle class into dust in 1933. If you have cash in the bank, I'm not sure that getting it out of the bank will help. I'm not sure that cash will be accepted at a business any longer. You may have to convert the cash to another form of currency, like silver or gold, which I myself was just looking into again last night. And I strongly believe that. I'm just getting started. I'm just starting, but that is absolutely true. And it's actually right now, the price is pretty low. It is down right now. So if you wanted to get gold and silver, silver was $18 an ounce and $1,600 an ounce in gold. Platinum and palladium, yeah, it does. My loan officer said, don't even think about it. So, yeah. Anyway, gold, that is definitely
what you want to do. Now, when the Pope tells the church to get all their money into the Vatican bank pronto, it sure looks to me like he knows the other banks are going to be in massive trouble, and he wants the church funds to be safe. So, folks, seriously, if you do have some money that you have that you're like, I'm going to keep this for an investment in something, I'm going to invest this in myself or any of that, right now is the time. I'm talking tomorrow, tonight, even wherever you are on this planet, get it now because the price is low. I just looked at it last night, and get it now before it goes back up. That's all I'm going to say. Get a bunch of silver. If you want to do palladium and platinum, go for it. Do it if you can do it. Gold, like I said, it's around 1600. I'm not being specific. I'm just spitballing it because I remember there was a 1500 something. Check it out. Look up the price and find your gold dealer, talk to them and get some. Because seriously, folks, if the Pope is doing this, he knows something. And they're probably doing their best to be as discreet about it, but it's darn near impossible. So the ones that are in the know, such as us, this is the time. This is the time. I'm going to be doing it myself. I'm not gonna put something like that out there if I'm not going to do it myself. And like I said, if you look at the graphs over the past just the past year, this is like the lowest numbers right now. Get it now. That's just what I'm going to say about that. So now, a few days ago, I was going to, was it the 30th? No, the Artemis launch, basically. I stayed up all night. I was like, I don't want to go sleep. I'll sleep in. I'll sleep through the alarm and I'll miss it because this is historical. Yes, there wasn't nobody on there. But I don't know. I had what I'm guessing was the feeling that people had in the 60s during the launches. I felt that. I felt that pride, that camaraderie, the exhilaration, the excitement, and the size of it. Of course, I think Elon's is a lot bigger, I think, but it was a big moment. It was a big moment. And unfortunately, they did the right thing by delaying everything and slowing or holding off the launch. They scrubbed it 40 minutes into it. And they had a leak in one of the engines and one of the coolant lines, I think that's what it was. But yeah, we're hoping though that they'll be this Friday. So let's see what we got here. Artemis 1 back on for now. And that's what I was just saying. NASA aims to get its Artemis 1 moon mission off the ground this weekend, despite a recent glitch. The agency announced today, August 30th, that it's now targeting Saturday, September 3rd, for the launch of Artemis 1, a crucial mission whose first liftoff attempt on Monday, August 29th, was scuttled by a technical issue. If all goes according to plan, Artemis 1 will launch from Pad 39B at NASA's Kennedy Space Center, the KSC in Florida, during a 2-hour window that opens at 2:17 p.m. Eastern Time. Pardon me. Hold on a second. As the name suggests, Artemis 1 is the first mission of NASA's Artemis program, which aims to establish a sustainable human presence on and around the moon by the end of the 2020s. It's also the first flight of NASA's huge new space launch system, the SLS rocket, which will send an uncrewed Orion capsule on a long journey to the lunar orbit and back. That shakeout cruise was supposed to lift off on Monday during the countdown. However, Artemis 1 team members noticed that one of the 4 RS-25 engines that power the SLS core stage wasn't cooling to the desired low temperatures, about minus 420 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 250 degrees Celsius ahead of ignition. Such thermal conditioning achieved via the bleeding in of a super cold liquid hydrogen propellant ensures there's no shock when the engines light up. Missions team members have explained engines 1, 2, and 4 got close to the mark during the countdown, but number 3 stayed relatively far out of bounds at roughly minus 380 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 230 degrees Celsius. John Honeycutt, manager of the SLS program at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Alabama, said during news conference this evening, the Artemis 1 team couldn't troubleshoot the issue in time during Monday's countdown, so the launch attempt was called off. But Honeycutt and the others on the mission team think they have a handle on it now. They suspect it boils down to a faulty temperature sensor on engine 3. Here we go, the quote. I think we understand the physics about how hydrogen performs and the way the sensor is behaving doesn't line up with the physics of the situation, Honeycutt said during this evening's press conference. Readings from the other sensors suggested that the engine 3 was getting appropriate levels of liquid hydrogen during the bleed, he added. Replacing the sensor would likely require rolling the Artemis 1 stack off the pad 39B and back to KSC's enormous vehicle assembly building. Honeycutt and the others said during the briefing. Man, that would suck. Because that's a lot to remove this monstrosity from the tower back to the garage, basically, just to change a sensor. I'm sure it's like buried behind a whole bunch of stuff, and that's probably why they have to do it. But boy, one little thing. But it's better than the alternative of an accident. So that is a good thing. Read that. Okay. The team plans to make a few adjustments to the countdown plan. Start engine cooling process 30 to 45 minutes early than last time, for example. And they'll continue analyzing data and mapping out scenarios over the next few days to make sure that the current approach is indeed justified and prudent, Honeycutt said. Quote, we've got to continue poring over the data, he said. We've got to put some flight rationale together, anticipating that we're not going to get any better results on that engine 3 bleed temp sensor, unquote. Such issues are often worked out during a, quote, wet dress rehearsal, which is a series of fueling tests and simulated launch countdowns that help vet a brand new rocket before its first flight. The Artemis 1 team conducted several wet dress attempts at Pad 39B this spring, but they encountered several technical issues and ended up omitting some steps. The wet dress tries never took Artemis 1 into the engine bleed configuration in which the problem was encountered on Monday. Even if all the technical analysis supported a launch attempt on Saturday afternoon, there's no guarantee Artemis 1 will get off the pad that day. Mother Nature will have to say as well. And the news there is a little iffy. Mark Barger, a launch weather officer with the U.S. Space Force's 45th Weather Squadron, said the latest forecasts show a threat of shower and thunderstorms along Florida's Space Coast on Saturday. There's a 60% chance of weather violation during Saturday's launch window. Berger said during this evening's press conference, that's what he said during the press conference, but he did express optimism that the weather will clear at some point during the window, giving Artemis 1 a chance to lift off. Boy, I know there's not going to, they say there's nobody on this craft. But I'm hoping for the best. I don't want to, because they've been working on this thing for over a decade, almost 2, I think. It's been a long, long time. And it is massive. And they're using parts from shuttles from the shuttle program. And they actually had one of the female astronauts that was on a certain shuttle which engines were used for this. And she was talking about that. And I was like, that's cool. That, they're recycling stuff. That's cool. It works. So yeah, it's really exciting. And let me tell you, Brooks, he talks about space mining and other things up here in space. And, I'm working with a company that's doing some stuff in space. And it's really, really exciting where we can be just in the next few years. It's just liberating in a way. I'm getting really, really excited right now just thinking about it. So I'm gonna stop. I so look forward to that day. I can floating, turn around, look out a window, and there is the entire Earth. That is what I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see colonization on other planets and just seeing us move forward. You know, um, it's time. It's time. We've been stuck in orbit too long. All right. So another thing that's been going on is teacher unions attack parents, and I'll tell you, I've been watching videos from around the country of just this teacher union, city council going against parents. Now, let's see what we have here. Teachers unions are ridiculous. Oh, I'm already loving this. Already loving it. Loving it. I've never been a fan of the ability to get tenure in that you're basically immune to being fired from your job, at least not without the school district suffering from some severe repercussions. Maybe Elon Musk needs to buy out all the teacher unions as the amount that they are worth and turn around and sell them for what they think they are worth. He'd be a trillionaire already. But the New Jersey Teachers Union has been taking things to such an extreme level that it only serves to demonstrate why I am so against public schools. The NJ, or the New Jersey Teachers Union, is upset because parents attend school board meetings and voice their complaints about the trash that the libraries at the children's schools are stocked with, keeping groomers out of their daughters' bloomers should be the goal of any decent parent, particularly if they want them to be normal human beings in life. What's more important, knowing how to calculate everything in a household budget or how many distinct pronoun combinations there are? Well, if you ask the New Jersey Teachers Union, they'll say the latter, and they'll want to silence parents from being able to say otherwise. Now, this is a touchy topic with me. Do my best to not get overly passionate here on the radio, but I've been a father and dad, and that switch has been turned on. So I'm very, very protective of kids. But there's this one pamphlet that seems to be going around the schools. Remember, for those that are around my age, and I'm turning 50 in another year. You remember Stranger Danger? You remember that? You know, Stranger Danger. That's what we grew up on. And now they're passing out pamphlets at school saying if a stranger walks up to you, don't call them, a pedo. Don't scream. Don't, because you'll hurt their feelings. I kid you not. I kid you not. I wish there was a visual so I could pull up this pamphlet and show it to you. It's been making its rounds online, and people are just up in arms about it. It's basically psychologically telling kids to stand down, don't fight, and go with it. I mean, it's if I had kids, I probably wouldn't be in school. I mean, there's probably a few schools I that are really great people. I know some of the local schools here are really amazing, but in just, man, it just, no, would not do it. Because here's what I think. I'm going to put this out there. If anybody wants to do it, just be sure to let me have, give me a cabin, all right, or something. Let me have an apartment or whatever. If someone would like to purchase like a whole bunch of land and fence it all off like M. Night Shyamalan's, The Village, and all new couples that are about to give birth or going to have babies or whatever, and we put them in this huge town, right? And they can never leave. And the first day is January 1st, 1980. And every day they got to, they get the newspaper of that day, of the actual stories that happened on that day, and the same on the TV channels, only three channels, ABC, NBC, CBS, and raise this new generation, like a Generation X 2.0. The last great generation that had some respect for your elders and, just basic. It's just anyway. Oh, that was my idea. I'm putting it out there if anybody wants to do it. I just want an acre, nice little, I want a horse. Anyway, anywho, all right. Yeah, I also digress, and that was I think my first big digress of the evening, so I apologize. Oh man. So yeah, did you know nuclear power is back? Yep. That's right. As governments around the world struggle with seemingly unsurmountable energy crisis, policymakers are reconsidering nuclear energy as a possible solution. Natural gas prices continue to break record highs, making the clean and reliable nature of nuclear power increasingly interesting for governments. While the IEA has highlighted the importance of nuclear power in combating climate change, increasing extreme weather events could actually undermine nuclear power. Faced with an unprecedented energy crisis, governments in the West are rethinking their long held positions on the role of nuclear power generation, setting the stage for what could be the biggest energy source comeback story of recent times. Support of nuclear has, grown in recent months as policymakers see nuclear energy as an alternative to the most expensive gas countries have ever paid to import, uh, and as a zero emission electricity source that would help keep climate ambitions and targets alive. Even Japan and Germany, even Japan and Germany, which had vowed to reduce or phase out nuclear power as a source of electricity in the wake of the Fukushima disaster in 2011, are now considering using nuclear power for longer. Huh. Huh. We'll leave that alone. In the United States, the recent adopted Inflation Reduction Act extends tax credits and funding to nuclear power plants, while California is looking to keep its last operating nuclear power plant open beyond the planned closure deadline set for 2025. Keeping old nuclear plants operational beyond their original expiry date is not always easy due to the safety concerns associated with extending the lifetime of facilities. Yet, faced with new challenges and unattractive alternatives, government and increasingly willing to compromise, governments are increasingly willing to compromise when it comes to solving energy shortages. I went too far. Perspectives are changing amid a global energy shortage and sky high natural gas prices, especially in Europe and Asia, which are scrambling for non Russian gas supply after Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Putin's weaponization of gas pipeline delivers to Europe. Ah, IEA, a nuclear power set for comeback. The policy, the policy landscape is changing, opening up opportunities for nuclear comeback. The International Energy Agency, the IEA, said in June of 2022. According to the IEA, nuclear is well placed to help decarbonize the electricity supply. Without nuclear power, net zero by 2050 will be much harder to achieve, the agency said. Also, quote, extending nuclear plants' lifetimes is an indispensable part of cost-effective path to the net zero by 2050, unquote, the IEA says, adding that such extensions need substantial investment but they generally yield a cost of electricity that is competitive with wind and solar in most regions. Moreover, momentum is building behind small modular reactors, which have lower costs and risks compared to traditional nuclear power plants, according to the IEA. Still, nuclear power will need strong policy and incentive support from governments to ensure the safe and sustainable operation of nuclear plants, to mobilize the necessary investments, including in new technologies, the agency noted. Oof. Man, I that's new to me. I did not realize that they were going to be coming back with nuclear. I really thought that after Fukushima and Chernobyl, and I think there was another one somewhere, it's just okay, all right. Well, there you go. That's what they're going to do. Oh boy. Oh boy. Let's see. Some Western U.S. allies, including Japan and Germany, have signed or have signaled that they could reconsider the role of nuclear energy to ensure more electricity and potential make up for lower gas supply amid Russian cuts in Germany's case and high LNG prices in Japan's case. Germany is debating whether to end nuclear power generation at the end of 2022 as planned. In light of gas crisis, yes, we will see. Germany has 3 remaining nuclear power plants, and they should be shut by the end of this year under a plan the country adopted to stop the use of nuclear energy following the Fukushima disaster. That's kind of what I was just thinking. In early August, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz signaled that it, quote, could make sense, unquote, to keep nuclear power plants operating. However, such a move could be difficult because many parties, including the Greens, that are part of the coalition government, firmly oppose extending the nuclear power generation beyond 2022. I'm just there's dilemma in here. I'm just some dilemma. In Japan, in a major U-turn, what? Last week, the government now wants to restart more nuclear plants than were idled after Fukushima, and it's interested in developing small nuclear reactor technology amid the energy crisis that led to the calls of consumers to, oh my gosh, to conserve energy this summer. Holy, what is happening here? How? Why is it? I mean, I'm not gonna say it's good or bad, but it seems like all of a sudden everybody's like, let's do this again after they all like, no, this is bad. We must get rid of them all. We must, yes, world peace, all this stuff. And, you know, I don't know. We have other ways of getting energy. We're not restricted to just one. And other ways that are, not deadly. If there was an accident. So anyway, that's news to me that everybody's doing a U-turn, basically. That especially Fukushima. I mean, seriously, isn't that like you can't go near it? So I mean, it's just it's all a fault line. Basically, it's such a tiny, long, thin, narrow island. Oh my goodness gracious. So I guess that just wasn't enough. I guess they need more four-headed fish. I don't know. I'm just I'm a little taken back by that. But if you want what's going on, you check out Brooks' blog. That's right. The U.S. backs nuclear with Inflation Reduction Act. Here we go. In the United States, the Inflation Reduction Act that I don't even like saying his name. I really don't like saying his name. We'll say Brandon. The Brandon administration major legislation to tackle the climate change recognizes the key role nuclear will play in achieving net zero emissions. Oh, guess what? We'll hold on that just a minute. We'll get back to this after the break. Those that are we're on a break. Just in case you are wondering, I'm being quiet. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. This is Doc Skinner, and this is Brooks Agnew's show. I am subbing for him today, class. So this is the second hour of today's show here on Revolution Radio. I am so excited and nervous, but also honored and humbled that I've been asked to cover for Brooks. This was the first time he's had somebody sub for him in the past 4 years. So it's a big responsibility, and I'm praying I'm doing it justice. So anyway, we were talking about all the stuff about nuclear around the world, and we were just getting into the United States, and we had to go to commercial break. But I appreciate you all hanging out with me. I appreciate everybody else that's hanging out with me on the social media chats. I normally would do roll call, but we'll do that later on my show tonight at 7. So, and for those that may want, it's 1028 Productions on YouTube if you would like to check it out. All right, let's get back to this. The U.S. backs nuclear with Inflation Reduction Act. In the United States, the Inflation Reduction Act, or the Brandon administration's major legislation to tackle climate change, recognizes the key role nuclear will play in achieving net zero emissions. The act allows new production tax credits, or PTCs, for existing nuclear plants, as well as technology neutral credits for clean energy, including for clean hydrogen production using nuclear generated electricity. Last year, nuclear accounted for 19% of U.S. electricity generation and was the single largest source of zero emission power supply, ahead of wind power generation with 9.2% per EIA data. Quote, the IRA's support for existing nuclear generators, advanced nuclear energy projects, and development of advanced nuclear fuel will enable nuclear energy to contribute significantly to the U.S. climate goals, and in doing so, will establish capabilities that can be exported to enhance climate efforts worldwide. Stephen S. Green, non-resident senior fellow of the Atlantic Council Global Energy Center, wrote earlier this month. Also this month, California Governor Gavin Newsom proposed extending the lifetime of the state's only operational nuclear power plant, Diablo Canyon, through 2035, 10 years after the planned closure date of 2025. The power plant currently supplies 17% of California's zero-carbon electricity supply and 8.6% of California's total electricity supply. The draft proposal says without nuclear power, California could struggle to keep the lights on in the summer heat waves of after 2025. There's more of it. Now my mind is wondering, and I have questions. Because looking at these numbers, because of Fukushima, I've never looked at nuclear power with a smile. Basically, I'm just like, oh, that's a disaster waiting to happen. That's all. I'm tainted, right? Watching that whole thing go live, it traumatizes you, and you're just like, I don't like that. But if it's that clean, I learned something today. And of course, it's from Brooks. He blows my mind. He doesn't even have to be here. Let's see. So climate change, it could challenge nuclear plant lifetime extensions. As heat waves and other extreme weather events become more frequent, intense heat and droughts could challenge the life extension of old nuclear power plants. Case in point, in France, where nuclear power generation accounts are around 70% of electricity mix, EDF warned early this summer that nuclear power generation in France would be reduced as high temperatures of River Rhone and Gironde make them too hot to cool reactors. I see, because they're using they're using water from I get it, the river, to cool it. It's too hot. That makes sense. In Florida, the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the NRC, rescinded in February this year a 2019 license to Florida Power and Light to extend the lifetime of two 50-year-old reactors for another 30 years, ordering a new environmental review, including potential risks that climate change could pose. Wow. I had no idea that everybody is now nuclear friendly. Okay, I guess I get on the train. Why not? Cool. Okay. I thought we were going to end up doing solar and wind and hydro and all that. And we're running out of water. Solar panels are kind of making a thing, but nuclear power, well, I mean, if it's this clean, um, I never really paid too much attention to it except for Fukushima. So anyway, moving on. Let's see. This is going to be good. All right. I need a little sip of the nectar of the gods, which is my favorite soft drink. I'm not going to say because we're on a major radio station and I don't want to drop a name. Virtual Joe lying again, basically. Oh, the casual and credulous observer. The FBI raid on Donald Trump's house unfolded without any involvement from the I'll say it because he has it in here, Biden White House. That's the impression Biden's aides sought to leave after issuing narrow denials of any prior knowledge of the raid. But that impression is false. As reporter John Solomon reveals in an article in Just the News, the Biden White House not only knew about the FBI's probe into Trump, but facilitated it, writes Solomon. Dun, dun, dun. He has seen government memos that show the quote Biden White House worked directly with the Justice Department and National Archive to instigate the criminal probe into alleged mishandling of documents, allowing the FBI to review evidence retrieved from Mar-a-Lago this spring and eliminating the 45th president's claims to executive privilege, unquote. So once again, Biden has unleashed the FBI on a political opponent. The FBI raid on Trump's house is a replay of its shocking, spacious investigation into Trump-Russia collusion that the Obama-Biden administration approved. One might have thought, given that debacle, the Biden White House would have wanted to steer clear of yet another partisan FBI fishing expedition. But Biden obviously couldn't resist making life difficult for his chief political nemesis. The memos, quote, show then White House Deputy Counsel Jonathan Sue was engaged in conversations with the FBI, DOJ, and National Archives as early as April, shortly after 15 boxes of classified and other materials were voluntarily returned to the Federal Historical Agency from Trump's Florida home. According to Solomon, by May, Sue conveyed to the archives that President Joe Biden would not object to waiving his predecessor's claims to executive privilege, a decision that opened the door for the DOJ to get a grand jury to issue a subpoena compelling Trump to turn over any remaining materials he possessed from the presidency. All of this, of course, sets a horrible precedent. As a legal scholar, Alan Dershowitz notes, Solomon showed him the memos establishing Biden's critical role in driving the FBI probe. Quote, I was very surprised, Dershowitz told Solomon. Quote, the current president should not be able to waive the executive privilege of a predecessor without the consent of the former president. Otherwise means nothing. What president would ever discuss anything in private if he knows the man who beat him can and will disclose it? Good point. As usual, the double standard of the ruling class that sanitizes Democratic dirty tricks holds sway in Washington. As in the case of the Russian collusion hoax, they used the FBI to infiltrate the Trump campaign based on nothing more than his opponent. Now they use the FBI to raid his house, all while playing innocent about their role in encouraging it. They want the American people to see the FBI as the agency above the fray of politics, but it is clearly not. The seventh floor of the FBI, where it is politicized senior leaders roost, looks more and more like an annex of the Democratic Party. Man. Yep. I don't know what I can really mention on that one. I've been pretty good that I leave this category up to Brooks and some of my other friends that show hosts, and because you can only have so many people tell you stuff. So I leave it. There's some things I just don't touch. It's not that I would, but it's just there's so many people already talking about it. So I cover other topics, but yeah, I have no disagreement. I'll just say that. All right. So fake embassy evacuation. Did you guys hear about this? The U.S. State Department has categorically denied claims that it ordered personnel to evacuate from the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad after a series of waves of violence erupted in the Iraqi capital today. Rumors of an evacuation order has begun to swirl after a video clip and a still picture showing an Mi-8, Mi-17 hip-type helicopter on top of a building, which appears to be inside Baghdad's sprawling green zone, began circulating on social media, drawing comparisons to images from the fall of the cabal last year. Together with the official denial of evacuation, there are strong indications that this was an Iraqi helicopter and it may not have actually been at the U.S. Embassy compound at all. Quote, "These reports are false," unquote, a State Department spokesperson told the War Zone in a statement in response to queries about the evacuation claims. Quote, "Ensuring the safety of the U.S. government personnel, U.S. citizens, and the security of our facility remains our highest priority," unquote. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, continues to monitor this situation closely, which currently looks like it's de-escalating, or quote unquote. U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Dave Eastburn, a spokesperson for the command, which is the top American military headquarters overseeing operations in the Middle East, also said in a statement that, to the War Zone, quote, "As of now, U.S. CENTCOM is not aware of any evacuation orders being issued," unquote. Hundreds of supporters of supporters of Muqtada al-Sadr in Iraq. That is most likely 1,000% absolutely not how it's supposed to be said, but Muqtada al-Sadr, and I apologize because I don't know how to pronounce that. An Iraqi parliamentarian and firebrand Shaleh cleric stormed the green zone today and burst into the presidential palace there. This in turn triggered a forceful response from our Iraqi security forces that has reportedly left 12 individuals dead and more injured. All of this came after Sadr announced plans to resign from politics over an ongoing dispute stemming from parliamentary elections last October, in which his party failed to secure a clear majority. Sadr has since refused to negotiate with rival Shalit political parties, many of which have strong ties to Iran, and has otherwise been unable to form a government, leading to political deadlock and communal tensions. Whew. Russian helicopters are not used by the U.S. They are not good helicopters. They are used by India, Iraq, and Iran. This view shows the helicopters actually landing on another building, but the media claims it was the U.S. Embassy. Okay, so the picture that I'm seeing, I'm sorry you can't see it, is a picture that was taken somewhere else and said it was somewhere different, basically. Yes. Now, I don't know. I trust Brooks when I'm hearing the news. Like, I trust Brooks Agnew. I don't trust mainstream at all. Very few reporters, but yeah. There's just so much craziness going on in the world, folks. It is truly just crazy. And it seems to be it's like controlled chaos, I think is the words I'm looking for. Controlled chaos. And we're living in it. We're just living in it. One of the craziest things that's going on right now, and I know everybody's mentioned it, you've heard of it, you've heard whispers, something, is these new IRS warriors. What gives? Has anybody seen the videos of these people training? These are accountants.
I'm not saying there are. I mean, there's not maybe some that might be in shape, but there's a majority. You want them to chase after somebody with a gun? These people. Nothing against accountants, especially the IRS, but this, I think, is going to be one of the biggest mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes. This is my personal opinion, folks. This is not what Brooks was blogging, but it was not even a week ago that the poll revealed that only 46.6% of Americans say the DOJ and the FBI are to be respected. Duh. And almost identical 46.2% said the federal bureaucracies are political, corrupt, and not to be trusted. Yeah, right now I'm seeing Family Feud, and he's like, show us on the board. And it's like the number one answer. Now there's more bad news about what Americans think of their federal government. That's that Americans widely believe that the 87,000, new IRS agents provided for in the Democrats' massive new spending agenda will target, quote, those who are political opponents of the federal bureaucracy, unquote, or the average American. Are you scared yet? Yeah. Man, that's just upsetting. That is precisely why the government wants them targeted for destruction. This is fascism, pure and simple. The poll is from Convention of States Action, which worked with a Trafalgar group on a poll August 19th through the 23rd. Answers were from more than 1,000 likely 2022 election voters. It found 52.1% of voters say that the new 87,000 IRS employees approved by President Biden's legislation will be used to audit middle-class Americans, low-income earners, and small businesses, or to target the political opponents of those in power. Are you upset now? It was 33% who said the IRS Army will be auditing middle-class Americans and small businesses, and 15.9% who say that Biden's administration will use the troops to target the political opponents of those in power. Another 3.2% said the agenda is going to be directed against, quote, cash, tip, and app-paid workers. So if you do your stuff on your phone, little cash apps and all that, oh boy, you think you just pass the money friend to friend, or getting your babysitting money from the parents so they don't have to give you cash. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Quote, we wanted to understand whether or not voters believe that the true purpose of hiring 87,000 new IRS agents is to focus on, as the Biden administration has been claiming, quote, large corporate and high net worth taxpayers, or whether something else is afoot, said Mark Meckler. Geez, president of the Convention of the States. They just lie. They just lie to us. Democrats believe that this is the case and that what they've been told by their leaders is accurate. Independents and Republicans strongly believe the country is being lied to, and that this new IRS is going to target either everybody, everyday Americans, or those who are political opponents of the federal bureaucracy. He continued, quote, we have volunteers in every state, and this matches what we're hearing from these grassroots. The latest tyranny from Washington, D.C. is propelling our nation more quickly towards an Article 5 Convention of States, which stands alone, and the only way to solve the problem of an out of control and out of touch federal government is that is too big, too powerful, and too involved in our everyday lives, unquote. Such convention could make changes in American government, including setting a balanced budget requirement or more. According to the polls, the results, 52% of independent voters say
Biden will use the 87,000 IRS agents to audit middle-class Americans, low-income earners, and small businesses, people like you and me. Target the political opponents of those in power in Washington, while only 30.9% say the audits will target wealthy Americans and large corporations. Those numbers for Republicans were 72.8% say the targets will be the middle class, low income, and small business operations. Not even 16% said the targets will be the rich and the big companies. Even 28.5% of Democrats said the targets will be middle class, low wage earners, small business operations, while 49.8% claim the agents will be used against the rich and the big companies. It's like, watch this hand while this hand does the stuff you don't see. It's just, it's a trick. It's the distrust of the deep states operating in Washington was partially revealed in last week's poll, which came after years of Department of Justice and FBI schemes against President Donald Trump. Meckler explained after that poll, which showed more than 68% of Republicans and 47.9% of independents, and even 1 in 5 Democrats say those agencies are too corrupt to trust. Quote, despite the daily lies, obfuscations, denials, alternative storylines, and the other attempts to throw the public off the scent, voters see what is really going on. They understand politics, not justice, are behind the unfolding saga, and they see that the more we know, the worse this gets for those who enforce so-called justice. Quote, in their fervor to go after Donald Trump, federal authorities have completely undermined their credibility and trust with a growing segment of Americans, unquote. The FBI and DOJ were integral to Democratic Hillary Clinton's scheme in 2016 to assemble a conspiracy theory that Trump's campaign was colluding with Russia. The idea reportedly was to distract voters from Clinton's own email scandals, where she put national secrets on an unsecure server. It was FBI agents and lawyers who openly boasted during the election that they would not allow Trump to win. And they had a backup plan that would install Clinton in the Oval Office. One agent even admitted to altering evidence to make an allegation look worse for Trump. It's all been debunked. After it was revealed that the FBI used fabricated statements about non-existent events to obtain court permissions to spy on Trump campaigns. The investigations of President Trump never actually halted with various Democrat-led agendas. At the national state levels, and not surprisingly, 48.6% of American voters believe that the Justice Department's current investigation into the former President Trump is only intended to prevent him from running for office in 2024. That's more than those who don't believe that. Significantly, the poll revealed more American voters believe the FBI and the Department of Justice are not telling us the truth about their reasons for conducting the raid on President Donald Trump's home than those who believe they are getting the truth. So it's a big chess game, folks. And if we're lucky, I'll be able to get off my headphone wire there. I was about to rip it in half. I believe that we all chose to be here at this time and place for the things that are going on and the things that are going to happen. It's going to be historic. It's going to be wild. It's going to be crazy. And what we see is all these different things that we see. The IRS, the fake embassy thing, climate change, nuclear power, all that. It's just, it seems to be that they're all big pieces to the big puzzle, which is going to show the big picture, the big show when it all happens. And
it's crazy because we see you see if you listen to or watch Brooks Agnew, then I know what kind of I know we're connected. We're good people. um, we all see it. We've had the proof, and for some reason, I also am on another show called Third Phase of Moon. I'm a panelist. It's a UFO channel on YouTube. It's like the number one, and I have my own show as well at 1028 Productions on YouTube, and it's I'm getting to the point where I feel like we're in this Groundhog Day syndrome. Like we feel that we can't fully believe something unless everybody else does. Even if we had a UFO land in our front yard, took us for a ride, took us to Paris for dinner, took us, or whatever, um, that should be a given. It's for real. you know, it happened to you. But yet we still rely on other people. And it's just like I keep seeing things in loops. And we're doing that kind of with this whole politics thing. When I mean, I understand politics is very important, but the fact that all of this stuff has been dragged out, and every time they've done it, they failed. Yet their people keep thinking, "Oh, it's great, it's great." We hope he, goes to jail. Blah 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 blah. And you bring up the topics of the Biden family. We won't go that far, because we have to be careful in this world. It sucks. Now we have to bite our lip, and that's very upsetting to me. It's upsetting to me that the America, me, and so many of you grew up here. It wasn't like this. I mean, it wasn't pitch perfect or anything, but it was so much more humanistic, if that's even a word. It was more, people were more in touch with each other. They were able to, you know, talk to each other, hang out, go do stuff, play at the park, just get out there. Now everything is just, it's just looking down at your phone. Um, could that be the zombie apocalypse that we're talking about? Everybody's just they're just locked into their phones and then just walk like zombies. Could that be it? We're already there. We're already in. I mean, there could be other things, but it's just mind-boggling that stuff like this is happening. And it is so not American. It's so Gestapo. And it's a witch hunt. And I'm sure I'm not as sick of it as much as Donald Trump is and his family, but I'm sick of it. It's like, move on. It's like the Democratic Party has become a bully. The bully that they keep saying, that we are and all this stuff is like, no, we just got a leader. They ain't gonna put up your crap. Can I say crap? I hope I can say crap. And so, yeah, it's time. How people complain about the 4 years when the prices of everything was so low, no war, peace with North Korea or South Korea, all this stuff that he said he was going to do, and he did it. Yeah, you come across the other side, and you give us some examples, and it's broad statements that really doesn't say anything with no backup, no proof, and you're like, okay, give me an example, and they lock up and say, I'm not going to do this interview, and then they walk off. Come on, that right there is a giveaway. That you fighting because you think you're on team A and you're really on team B. Yeah, I'm going to stop on that because this isn't my actual show. This is Brooks Agnew show, guys. So I don't want to get too crazy and passionate with it. Anywho, it's for me, it's disheartening because it used to be the government was a lot smaller and a lot more respected, even though they were still doing dark, evil stuff back then. But it was just a different sense of America. And boy, do I miss it. Boy, do I miss it. How they just subliminally brainwash people every day, all day, in so many ways. And we just continue swimming around in all that brainwash. And luckily, some of us, you, me, Brooks, many others, we're able to see the matrix, you know. And so we do what we can to try to point these things out. Um, Going back, I do want to talk about more on something. The nuclear thing was hefty, and it surprises me because that by the end of the article, it has me going, well, I don't know. I don't know. It's just, bad situation that I'm sure Noble happened, and it was a bad Mother Nature situation, so they say. And yeah, I'm not going to do conspiracies on this show, but uh, that was a natural thing on a fault line or tsunami and whatnot. So I don't know. I understand why they put nuclear power plants close to the water. It's to help cool the rods so that they don't have a meltdown. And it bothers me to think, okay, you're pulling this water and you're cooling these nuclear rods. Where's that water going? Is it going back in the ocean? I mean, I have somebody that tells me Fukushima is the gift that will forever keep giving. And it scares me. I don't even think I've eaten seafood since 2011. But it's wild. It's a wild, wild world. So, like I said, look forward to going into space soon, hopefully very soon, and we can try to start over and be aware that hey, we've already screwed up one plant. Let's not do it to this new one, okay? Because yeah, or you could all go and just leave me here. Well, you can leave a few people, but I mean, yeah, be kind of cool. Be the king of the world, literally. But yeah, nuclear power, that is surprising to me that the world, that they all seem to just literally turn tail to come back, and all around the same time. It just feels, I don't know if I want to say it's my spidey senses kind of going off, but it's something weird. It's something weird. Has me question stuff. As well as the Artemis. The Artemis, boy, someone said, and I don't know. I don't know if it's right, but one of my viewers was mentioning that it's going to supposedly take 45 days, but I think it could have been 4 days, 6 hours, and 45 minutes. We're not sure. I haven't had time to check on it. But we were saying if this is a flight that literally would take 45 days to get to the moon, then I call baloney, because that's a 007 mission right there. That tank, you don't need that as much fuel, I don't think. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm conspiracizing. And I think I just created that word. So just Doc Skinner coined that phrase. But the whole Artemis thing, there's a lot of fuel, and I did end up seeing a what do you call it, a 3D CAD video that showed the interior and how the tanks are lined up. But I was just sitting there thinking, well, it's pretty darn big. You probably could maybe squeeze it all together, and then you have this extra space. That's where you put your SEAL Team 6 or Space Force 6 or whatever, and they go up in that. And that's why it would take 45 days to get to the moon, because they had to do a secret mission before they got to the moon. Because the last one, it was 4 days, 6 hours, and 45 minutes, I think is what we Googled last night for the Apollos to get to the moon. So, anywho, and it was a lot smaller. It was a lot smaller. So it's just like, there's gotta be some warehouse space in that tube. They're loading something else. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's AI, maybe it's HAL 2000, 3000, whatever it was.
That would scare the heck out of me, though, if that was true. But no, Artemis is going to be pretty cool. And then let me tell you, there's some other great companies out there um, that are doing some great things. There's Gateway Spaceport. And I think if you type in Gateway Spaceport, the company that's going to be the space construction company building the first wheel space station in orbit, hopefully by 2030, that will be able to accommodate many people. So check it out, see what kind of technology is out there. And of course, you got SpaceX and Virgin, and lots of stuff. Lots of stuff. It's going to be a whole new world in space. And I know for a fact that Brooks, I know, has touched upon like space mining, space colonizing, and stuff like that. And I pray every day. I'm grateful for every day I'm given. And I hope, like my grandmother who just turned 99 2 days ago, that I can live a long enough life that I can step foot on another planet or a moon, just to check off my bucket list. So henceforth, why I was so adamant about not sleeping the night before the Artemis launch, because I didn't want to miss it, because it was very historic for me. So but we hope for Saturday. We hope that the weather's clear, and then at Kennedy Space Center at 2:17 p.m. Eastern Time, during a 2-hour window, they hope to launch. So think positive vibes towards Florida Space Kennedy Center. That'll be beautiful, sunny, clear skies with no turbulence, and launch that baby. Let's fire it up. I got my friend Rich Giordano from Goof on Radio is going to be. He got an invitation. He's going to be there. I'm hoping that he'll maybe do a live feed. It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. So look forward to that. And that's where kind of why it's a big deal. Us going back to the moon. But I would say ask you, but I don't. What I always wonder if we've already landed on the dark side, NASA, if they've ever landed anything on the dark side, because you see photos, you see documentaries, you see this stuff about the moon and it being hollow and it ringing like a bell when they set off a bomb and all this stuff, and it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. So many questions about the moon and why we didn't go back. Why did we destroy? Well, that's not we. Why did NASA destroy all the information, the technology, or stuff, quote unquote, disappeared? It's appalling. It's appalling. And the fact that there wasn't at least some people that were in the previous program that they could have contacted, looked at their manuals they may have had at home, something to remember how to do it. And yet we didn't until hopefully Saturday, supposedly. Well, actually, no, I think we sent, or was that was China that sent those really great photos, because it was like colored. And I'm looking forward to seeing what is real. But then again, so many people say that so much is make believe and edited CGI and all that. But I like to hope. That's what I do. I like to hope that it's going to work out. But it should be interesting. So Artemis 1, Saturday, Kennedy Space Center, 2:17 p.m. Eastern Time. And that will be a 2-hour window. So block out your time for at least 2.5 hours, maybe 3, to calm down from the excitement for the launch. I don't know. Just plan accordingly. And let's pray for a safe launch. Like I said, luckily nobody will be on board. But whatever HAL 9000 or AI that they're sending up there, let's hope that it doesn't go. So the other thing that we discussed was the Pope thing, and this thing, we went over the articles, but I want to go back over them and discuss a few things, because I got so many questions. When You hear that the Pope instructs that all, in capital letters, Vatican entities are to move all their funds to the Vatican Bank before September 30th. That is like a huge siren going off in my head right now. And it just it my it, you know, I guess you could call it my fishy senses, because it smells fishy. And it worries me. This truly does worry me. This isn't a particular bank company. This isn't like, I don't want to start naming banks, but you know what I'm saying. It's not one of the normal banks, but it's one of the most important banks in the world. Um, the the Pope knows something, and he's not sharing it with everybody except maybe his inner council. And they're probably trying to do this as discreetly as possible, thinking the average Joe isn't going to catch it. They're not going to care. They're not going to think, well, why is this happening? They're just going to read the title and move on. But the fact that they got 14,500 plus clients, 5.2 billion euros in client assets, in Vatican City, 110 employees, something's up. Something is up. Someone got tipped off. And I don't know if it's something in prophecy where, it actually, it is. It is in prophecy in the Bible about how money will just be scanning your hand or your forehead. And that will be how you pay for things. But it makes me curious with the Pope and the Vatican. They all know this. They're pushing it. I mean, if that's what they're doing, if they're taking this and they're taking all this money and they're converting it into digital currency, then first off, oh my God, you did not give these people common sense, Lord. Because I'd be buying gold, silver, platinum, palladium. And no, I'm not represented by any of those companies. I don't even own any yet, but like I said, I am looking into it. As of last night, I was checking it out. And get some, folks. Get some today, tomorrow, this week. After payday, put a little aside. Get a couple coins. Get a bag or two of silver, because, like I said, it's $18 something cents an ounce. I don't have the breakdown. I closed it on my tabs. I should have left it open. This is the time. I'm doing it tomorrow. I might do it tonight. I don't know. I have to figure out some funds. But the fact that the Pope is doing this and the Vatican should scare the heck out of a lot of people that are aware of things, that get what's going on. And it really is prophecy coming true when you think about it, because it's been prophesized in books and movies, stories, that it's coming. And here it is. It's happening. Then again, our fearless villains, the cabal, they use these religious texts for playbooks, basically. And that adds to the mystique of their crimes. Because to the religious folks, they're like, oh, this is supposed to happen. It's prophecy. And there you go. So, oh boy, let's see here. So yeah, I am, and today, it was today is the 30. Oh no. So all the money's in there as of, oh boy. If you got a safe, folks, you may want to put some stuff in it. Because yeah, it's, if you're not scared, if you're not freaked out by what's going on, I'm not saying live a life in fear, but to be more of aware of what is truly going on. Still live your life, as so many of us do, because you have to learn to do that or you go nuts. So yeah, it's just good to be aware of what's going on, so you're not caught off guard when things go down. And it looks like something Oh no. I just, oh no. Oh no. I just thought of something. Holy no. Oh man. This is a thought. That's all it is. It's a thought. Okay. I just had a thought. We have kept hearing over and over again over past several years when people talk about how, sorry, I'm getting not close to the mic. We keep hearing how the stages will happen. Okay. I'm really scared to say this in a sense, but I'm going to. Here's what I have to say. Here we are with the Pope doing this with all the money, right? Okay, good. We understand that. But we've been told over and over and over again, even in the X-Files monologues and all these great clips that we've all shared with each other over the interwebs. And oh my God, this is Labor Day weekend coming up, folks. This is Labor Day weekend. And it's always been said that what would happen is they would close the banks down, call it a bank holiday. And that's when the crap will hit the fan. Now, this just hit me. This is just a thought. This is just a thought. And I could be completely wrong, but this thing with the Vatican, that should cause pause, in my opinion. That should cause pause. 5.6 billion. That's a lot. That's a lot. And they're their own little city, the Vatican City, and they're their own little world. They have their own laws and whatnot. It's a whole new world. And then the whole thing. I am backtracking, by the way, on these stories because now I'm kind of doing my commentaries. The story of the NIH, who told everyone using ivermectin to treat COVID was idiocy, and now telling doctors ivermectin is approved COVID treatment. Well, on this one, my commentation is, we told you, we tried, we screamed from the rooftops. Nobody wanted to listen because you believed what the media told you. Now, I'm not saying you watching this show because you guys are smart, but people in general. And yeah, so I declare that we have a hug your conspiracy day or apologize to your conspiracy theorist day. I think it's time. I do. I've been called a conspiracy theorist and so many things, and those things have come true. So, I mean, even, like Alex Jones, you go look at any of his stuff from the early 90s and 2000. I mean, he was spot on back then. Everything's true. So I think we need to turn the idea of a conspiracy theorist around because it's been misused. It's been abused and has created this stigma. I think we need to turn it around to what it is. It is when more than one person conspire together to do something, it is what it is, right? So, anywho, yeah, if you would like to get some ivermectin, you can go to brooksagnew.blog/ivermectin-report. Check it out. It's really good. I have mine. So look, it is better to be prepared and aware than caught off guard and scared. Does that make sense? I think a lot of people forget that. And it's because, unfortunately, I don't even think we have Boy Scouts anymore. Didn't that all just burn to hell? I mean, it's gone. But there was bad stuff in the Scouts. There's no argument there. But there was also good stuff because I wasn't an abuser or anything because my mom, she was like our team, our little group leader. So I didn't have the whole strange guy thing. That never happened to me. But we learned a lot of great stuff. How to go camping, pitch a tent, build a fire, start a fire, how to put on a bow tie, how to fold a flag, how to, be courteous and volunteer, have common sense. And the biggest thing, be prepared. Be prepared. When I say let's turn this term around of conspiracy theorist, I'm serious. For example, the term bug out bag, it's got a bad stigma because they want you to think it's a bad stigma. But here's the irony. It's so double speak in a sense because anybody in law enforcement, EMTs, fire department, military, SWAT, they all have what's called a bug out bag. Okay. And a bug out bag is a grab and go bag. If the crap hits the fan, no time to grab a bag and go to the laundry and fill. It's done. It's there. It's at the door. It's in the car. It's ready to go. Okay. If it's a bad conspiracy thing, then why do all of these government branches, their employees do that? I mean, really? So that's what I mean. They're using terminology that has good meanings to it, even conspiracy theory, because pointing out a factual thing that they're conspiring, someone's conspiring to do something, right? But they've turned it around to make it a taboo words, and it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous how we've tabooed so many words out there. But I don't know. And let's see. The integral particles in quantum computers, it's awesome. And I want to learn, I want to do some more on that. But I just want to say that I am so grateful that Brooks entrusted me tonight with his show on Revolution Radio. And I'm so appreciative of Revolution Radio helping me get on the air, which I hope I've been on the air. And I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And thank you to Brooks for making it happen. I'm glad he got a day off with his family today, and he got to go listen to some really awesome music. He has earned it, and like I said, I am humbled that I was asked to sub for him today. So I want to say thanks to everybody that was in the chat room. I know I did not do any really major interactions, but we'll do that on my show here in just a little bit, top of the hour, over at 1028 Productions. Let's see what else. We are just on the edge of time, and I'm now dog paddling. But there was one, I think, the speech prosecution thing. The violating of free speech and religious liberty and parental rights, come on. I don't think any rights should be taken from parents, period. And children, certain organizations taking children from their families when there's no need. And that stuff really, really gets under my skin. But it has gotten too technical, and too many people are all up in too many people's businesses. So yeah, why don't we just let each other just live? As long as we're not hurting each other, I think that's what's important. And that's what I think. So I am I haven't been on the radio in a while, so I'm like watching the clock, making sure I don't overstep my bounds. Because then right then you feel like you're at the Oscars and you've overspoke your welcome, and they're like with the orchestra going, get off. So that's where we're at right now. We're counting down the seconds, and I'm waiting for the music actually. But I want to say thank you again for allowing me to be here. I hope I didn't disappoint. My name is Doc Skinner, and you're listening to Revolution Radio, Brooks Agnew Show. Thank you so much. And remember, as long as we all lift each other up, we will all rise together. Good night, everybody.
Oops. Join me. I'm going to take a minute so I can redo my show. Or be